Tonight we're in the heart of downtown Bakersfield at one of the oldest buildings in the area. The Hubberfield building was built in 1895 and has a very colorful past. It is also home to the fine dining establishment TL Maxwells. Let's go ahead and take a look around. Tonight's going to be fine dining with a twist. Are you ready? Come on. We're here with Terry Maxwell, the owner of TL Maxwells. Tell me about this bar. We're standing here. It seems like there's a lot of history in this building.
Well, there's a tremendous amount of history in the building. First of all, it was built in 1895. This is a brick building, and you can tell the difference between this building and the one next door, which is the Hubberfield building, because it's a masonry building that was built in about 1925. Okay. Now, the bar itself was put in 1945. There was a gentleman who had worked for a bar that was actually across the street, but with the last name of Barbeau. Clyde Barbeau was his name, and he had a partner. And they decided they were going to open a bar. Well, it took them about 9 months to almost a year to open it, and they very meticulously decided how they were going to establish this bar. Now you'll see that this is solid mahogany. It was put in 1945, they opened in 1946. Wow. Now you'll never see another bar like this be built ever again, because the mahogany fields in the Carolinas, it takes to grow something like this, it takes a good 50 years, because this is solid mahogany. Usually about 15, 16 years into the mahogany fields growth, they have to harvest them because they're so back ordered on mahogany. So as I say, you'll never see another bar like this again. And I don't think I've ever been to a place that has a horseshoe-shaped bar like this. So beautiful, tremendous history.
Now what went on in this building? Like what
historical was going? This building originally was the Elks Club of Bakersfield.
Really?
And this is from 1922, when they had the statewide convention for the Elks Clubs here in Bakersfield.
All right.
What this is this convex lens. So what you have is, this is the alley, this is the front entrance, and then way over here would be the corner of Chester and 17th Street. Okay. But because of the lensing, it looks like this is a corner here, and it's not.
Okay.
So this is just in front. They use that lens because I've got a bigger picture that has everybody in it. So when it was originally built, it was owned and operated by the Elks Club of Bakersfield. I also have, you can see, a doorknob from the Elks Club.
Very cool.
I'm not sure how old that is, but it was given to me by someone whose father was actually the owner of this at one point. If these walls could talk, we'd know everything about Bakersfield, because as I say, it's a building that's been here. It's the oldest building downtown Bakersfield that I know of. There are a couple other brick buildings down here, but I've been told that this is the one that was an original, and it was one of the first ones built.
It's great, great. Well, let's go into the dining room and let's talk about the menu.
Excellent.
Okay? Tell me about the inspiration of your menu here.
Well, I've been in this industry for 18 years, and I love to cook. That's not good criteria for wanting to own a restaurant. I tell people who come in and say, "Oh yeah, my wife and I, when we retire, we're going to open a restaurant." I tell them, "Look, if you ever get to the point where you really want to open a restaurant, come in and talk to me. I'll either try and talk you out of it, or I'll sell you a restaurant. One of the two, depends on what's happened so far that day. But the inspiration comes from the fact that I love food. Everything that's on our menu are different things that I've learned how to create and make different from what anybody else does. And they're all things I love to eat. We have a rack of lamb that I have so many people tell me that it's the best rack of lamb they've ever tasted. We do a gorgonzola filet. Now this is an Italian presentation, just like the Tornadoes is a French presentation filet. This is the Tuscan presentation for a filet mignon. What we do is we first chard broil a beautiful filet mignon. We cut all of our meat ourselves.
Okay, my mouth is watering.
And then we put a single piece of gorgonzola cheese over the top of it. Now gorgonzola cheese doesn't melt, it gets soft. And then we put a balsamic butter sauce over the top of that.
All right, well, I think that's what I want to have tonight. and tell me about your dessert. Don't you have a special dessert?
We make all of our own desserts. Now, there's two special desserts that people come in for routinely right now. One I've been making for, gosh, almost 15 years now. It's called malva pudding. It's a recipe I got from a book on fine dining restaurants in South Africa. The best description is like a real thick sponge cake. It's served with a creme anglaise sauce. We serve it a little bit warm, melts in your mouth. It's unique. It's almost like a bread pudding, but it's not.
Exotic.
Wait, it's real simple, but when you take a bite of it, people just
aren't the simplest things the best.
I have people who will call me on the phone and say, do you have malva pudding tonight? I said, well, why? Well, if you don't, I'm not coming in. So we always have malva pudding. Now the other one we have is a special dessert I made for my wife for her birthday about 3 years ago. We had a wine lover dinner. Now, every other month we do, on a Monday night when we're normally closed, a wine lover's dinner. Okay. 5-course meal, 3 different wines. I pick everything. There's always a theme and I stay true to the theme. Well, this was my wife's birthday one night. So I did all the food she loves. And I created a new dessert called Paula's Turtle. Because she loves those turtle candies that you can get.
My grandma used to make them.
It starts with a crust that has roasted pecans, caramel, and some graham cracker in it. Makes a nice little crust, great flavor. The second layer is a real rich vanilla buttercream. The third layer is another layer of the roasted pecans, but these are whole pecans in that same caramel. Now the caramel's the right texture and thickness that it holds the pecans in place, but when you take a bite, it melts in your mouth. And the top layer is a dark chocolate ganache.
And it sounds like you have a pretty extensive wine list. I mean, I see.
Wine list is, yeah, we've got a very nice wine list. A lot of the high-end stuff that is hard to find. We do have Robert Mondavi's 97 Cabernet Sauvignon, his Reserve, which is one of the most sought-after wines. We have a lot of the Clos de Vol. We have Opus. We standardly have the current years of Camus, Height Cellar. We carry Raymond. Those are all cabs and the big stuff and the Meritage. As far as Chardonnay is concerned, we carry cake bread because I think by and large when you start spending that kind of money on a Chardonnay, cake bread is the one that everybody admits is worth the price. Worth the price.
Well, can we go into the kitchen? I'm hungry now. Now that you described that wonderful food, I think it's time.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go.
Let's go.
Perfect. All right, so it looks like we're getting ready to cook a steak.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have a 36-inch charbroiler, and it's this is what's called a radiant one. Okay. And what it does is it diverts heat. He's gonna, since he's got it nice and hot, we'll get the nice grill marks that you see. The steak has been on olive oil and our house spices.
All right, so this is the gorgonzola steak.
This is the gorgonzola fillet that we're doing.
So we got that, and
he's gonna cook that to the point of being a medium, and at that point he'll put the gorgonzola on top.
On top. And what do we got going on over here?
Over here we have Gabriel is starting a chicken marsala for us.
All right, excellent.
The chicken marsala, we saute chicken. It's lightly floured, sauteed. And then after the sauteing, the chicken's pretty much done. He's going to add some garlic to it, some fresh tomatoes, some mushrooms. We're going to see a nice big of flame when he adds the marsala wine to it. And the last thing we do is add a little bit of basil, fresh basil to that.
Yum.
We get the sauce just right, presented on the plate with the chicken looking just perfect with nice crispiness on it. And then all those fresh vegetables and the sauce over the top, it's unbelievable.
Now, tell me, I'm seeing all this marble on the wall. What's cool? What do we have going on here?
The marble is interesting because back in the early 60s...
we're in his way.
Yeah, go ahead, Gabriel. Back in the 60s, they evidently were taking the marble steps out of City Hall.
Wow.
And they had it all stacked up, and the gentleman who owned this, Mr. Barbeau, happened to be going by, looked at it and realized that he could buy some of it. So he bought it and he put it all along the hearth here, all along that wall, and then across on the other side on that wall. So not only do we have the history of this building, we have City Hall in here too.
All in the kitchen. All right, it looks like the steak is coming.
It's coming right now. Katrina is going to put it in front of you. Hide your salivation.
I'm thinking it's going to be wonderful. The food looks great.
The food was prepared by some very talented people that work for me, that have worked for me for have longevity. I have my head cook, you met Gabriel, who made the chicken.
Okay.
Gabriel's been with me for 8 years.
Wow.
And Raul has been with me for 7. There's another young lady named Marta, and she's been with me for 7 also.
You know what that says about you as the owner?
Yeah, I probably have pictures of them doing something they weren't supposed to do, and they can't leave me.
That means you're a good boss, a good restaurant owner.
It's not. Well, it's not about the money. We know that. I like to think that I treat my people very well, and that they treat me very well. It's got to be that kind of a relationship, because if it isn't, then people aren't going to give everything they've got to produce this type of food. These are talented people, but what I guarantee to people is that if you come into this restaurant for the first time or for the 10th time, the enjoyment that you have, the food that you get served, the next time you come in, it's going to be the exact same way. I've eaten at too many restaurants where I think I've discovered a great new place. I have a great meal. When I went back, it's what happened to the restaurant that I thought I'd discovered? This restaurant has got consistency, and that's one of the other reasons having people that have longevity with you is important. Because I know that if I'm here or if I'm not here,
it's going to be the same for
It's going to be the same for everybody.
Well, I have to say, this steak is phenomenal.
Thank you.
One of the best I think I've ever had, and I don't eat beef very often, so this is a special treat for me particularly.
Excellent.
All right, Terry, it has been great. Thank you so much for having us.
It's my pleasure.
The food is delicious. You've got a lot of history, really fun, just a great place to be.
I appreciate you coming in and giving us an opportunity to show people a little bit more about our restaurant.
Great, thanks. All right, we'll see you next time on Bakersfield Eats.